We're all here in 2020, and these people are in 2120. Most of us buy things that other people have invented because we don't have the inclination to try something new ourselves. But these folks, they're as smart as they come. From being able to ride a lion to work to a homemade helicopter that actually works, here are 15 amazing homemade inventions made by true geniuses. Number 15. Hassan's Lion. We're all here taking buses, cars, trains, and bikes to work, and this guy's in the next century taking a robotic lion to work. We have to admit, we're a little bit jealous. While there's nothing wrong with good old-fashioned public transport, there's everything right with spending hours building a mechanical lion, then not having to deal with awkward small talk as you make your way to work sitting on top of it. The lion is one of the best homemade inventions, and we're not about to dispute that. The man behind the invention can comfortably ride it, which means he clearly did his homework on making sure it's strong enough. While we're not sure of its inner workings, because, well, we're not mechanics, it's clear to see that a highly complex system has allowed all four legs of the lion to move. While the speed isn't exactly lion's pace, or even snail's pace to be honest, there's no denying that it's a fantastic invention. It's surely only a matter of time before everyone's taken to the freeways with their own robotic animals in some kind of futuristic zoo parade. Before we go on, we have a cool challenge for y'all. It'll take about 5 seconds to complete. Let's make a deal. Just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you will get 10 years of amazing luck and fortune. Try it, it actually works. Number 14. New farming. Not every farmer in every country is equipped with the latest and greatest irrigation equipment. In fact, some farmers have more sense than money, which means they can come up with fantastic ideas for managing their farms, but don't have the money to invest in equipment that could take care of their everyday needs. An example of this is a farmer who came up with a way to make use of a stream on his property and water his crops at the same time. All it took was a little dinghy boat with a handle, an onboard generator, and cleverly positioned PVC piping. There was no multi-million-dollar watering system in sight. While the initial setup process took some time, the farmer was able to pump out water through the pipes and direct it to his crops. There was no need for water storage tanks on board the boat. He could then pull the dinghy with a handle through the narrow stream, making sure that all crops gained sufficient water. The entire system may have only cost a few $100s, but this man just came up with a way to save himself millions. Number 13. Homemade helicopter. Helicopters are not cheap. If they were, everyone would be flying around in them. The least you can pay for a brand new one is about $250,000, with higher end models selling for about $700,000 or higher. Therefore, it's safe to say that most of us are gonna have to put up with our bikes, cars, and public transport for now. Unless you're these guys. It's amazing what plans can be made during a lunch break in the workplace. These guys got together to build a homemade helicopter, and it's nothing to scoff at. It has a cleverly welded framework, a powerful engine, and a fast-moving propeller system. There's even a seat for one person. While it barely hovers a few feet off the ground, this helicopter is proof that even those that lack funding but have plenty of drive can make incredible things happen. Of course, even if it does fly more than a few feet in the air, the men are likely to strike trouble. There aren't any flight navigational equipment on board, not to mention easy ways to fly it or land it. This helicopter is as basic as they come, but kudos for the effort. Number 12. Homemade engine. It's every person's worst nightmare. Your car has a problem, you take it to the mechanic, and they shake their head while telling you it couldn't be saved. With a heavy heart, you've just learned that your beloved vehicle's engine is on its last legs. Most people will mourn for a bit, then set about trying to buy a new car that doesn't have a broken engine. But if you're this guy, a giant light bulb springs out of your head and you think of a way you can own your car forever. Call this man a genius, for he's about to prove that he is. He takes a white, beaten-up old VW Beetle, chops off its bum, and installs a homemade crank engine. For some reason, he also completes the look with 2 old tractor tires, because why not? Not only is the car now customized so that there's no mistaking it's his, but it sounds incredible too. It has a grunty, croaky sound, almost as if it's a far more expensive car roaring to life. While this car is undoubtedly no longer road legal in most developed countries, most people would drive it around with pride, especially if they built the engine themselves. Number 11. Homemade motorcycle. Okay, before we get into this, we're gonna explain the simple anatomy of a motorcycle. It has 2 wheels, 2 same-sized wheels, a comfortable seat, and handlebars. But if you're an inventor, you can throw that rulebook out the window and defy all convention. Whether or not we see these in mass production remains to be seen, but we're guessing not. Instead of building a regular bike, this guy took what looks like an old tractor and transformed it into a custom bike. Because that's what you do with old tractors, right? Build motorcycles. The front wheel is a giant tractor wheel, while the rear wheels, yeah, more of a trike than a bike, look to be from a trailer unit or a smaller tractor. The chassis, if you can call it that, are long pieces of steel connected to the center cap of the front tractor wheel. Instead of a handlebar, this motorbike has a steering wheel. When you see how it handles, that's probably not a good thing. Now let's talk about the speed. This thing is fast, so maybe not motorcycle fast, but definitely not tractor fast either. This guy is clearly a genius. Number 10. Homemade ultralight airplane Mark III. What's the bet that the last time you took a plane trip it cost you several $100s? Why are we still paying so much for air travel? Especially since we've now got advice from this guy who shows us how to build our very own ultralight airplane Mark III. Who knows? With enough motivation, we could all be flying planes to work and on vacation, saving thousands of dollars over our lifetime. YouTuber Peter Stripple has posted up several videos on how to build your own plane. Okay, so it's not a 5-minute job, and most people would rather pay a professional to build a plane than book a seat on it through a company, but for those who do want to build their own, well, here you go. Peter's plane is incredibly simple. It's fast, light, and is made with items and parts you can mostly buy online and in stores. Even better, he doesn't keep these a top secret. He literally posts links to where you can get them yourself to build your own plane. You don't see Boeing doing that. Number 9. Creative people. Transformers is a film series that many people adore. Some people love it so much that they'll put up a poster on their bedroom wall or buy the complete movie series. Then there are people that build their own Transformers, because why not? If you've got a scrapyard full of parts, a few clues in your head, and a passion for robotics, then there's every reason to skip the bus, build your own robot, and take it to work or school instead. This guy did just that. And he didn't just build a small transformer either, but one that looks like it might have even been in the movies. It features lots of moving parts, 4 individually moving legs, and a control system which he accesses from a chair on the top. This creative guy could have also made this transformer look pretty rough and ready, but as far as recycled robots go, it is all class. All 4 of its feet look like they're from elephants, and the middle is perfectly welded for strength. If you're gonna build a transformer, you definitely want to do it like this guy. Number 8. Disney at home. These parents would have won the Parent of the Century award if such an accolade existed. Most kids are pretty happy if their parents buy them a swing set, a trampoline, or even a cardboard box with a marker pen so they can make their own car. Some, though, make their kids a backyard roller coaster. If you can't take your kids to Disneyland, take Disneyland to your kids. So these parents did. Just check out how happy that kid is. Rather than a rusty old swing set, this kid has a full roller coaster complete with ascents and descents. And it's not even made in true DIY fashion. It is a fully constructed roller coaster with a rail system for the platform and a harness system for the child. It speeds along the platform, curves around a tree, then avoids all obstacles in its path as it makes its way back to the starting point. It might be time to teach your children a lesson, and that lesson is, find the kid in their class with a roller coaster, then befriend them. That way you don't have to fork out for a trampoline for Christmas. Number 7. The self-propelled car. You might dream of owning a flashy car like a Lamborghini or a Porsche, but how many of us can actually say we have the money to get one? Unless you can find a spare $100 and change under the sofa, you're destined to drive that rusty old Toyota for a while yet. Or you can think smarter and build a car that only looks flashy but doesn't even have a motor. This guy has made the best of his retirement and created a vehicle that relies on pure momentum and a touch of pedal power to get going. It has an extended body about as long as a Ferrari or Porsche and a super flash nose so that it looks like a supercar. Even its color scheme is distinctive, with vibrant orange and black detailing to show other road users that he means business. But instead of roaring off at a set of lights, you won't hear this car making any noise at all. The man behind this wheel makes a few weird and wacky rowing motions to get a bit of momentum, and then off he goes. Number 6. Mechanic horse. Many people have a love-hate relationship with horses. They might like the idea of them, but the very thought of riding something that could bolt, throw you off, or bite you can put them off. Not to mention how much care they require. Horses need both fresh and dried food, someone to care for their teeth and hooves, and someone to ride them. So you can like horses, but that doesn't mean you want to own one. This guy got around that slight inconvenience. You see, he owns a horse, but one that doesn't need any medical treatment or food. It is made purely from metal, with welded frameworks, shock springs in the forelegs, and a seat with a steering wheel. Some parts look as though they may have come from a tractor. Instead of grain and grass, this horse gets its energy from a generator that sits up around the rider's legs. And instead of a saddle, he has a much more comfortable seat. What's also quite clever is that he can move each leg individually while turning the horse with a steering wheel. Did someone say genius? Number 5. Use your tractor. Farming used to be quite a labor-intensive job. In some countries, it still is. But as the tractor took over the horse as man's best farming friend, a new world of farming began. Machinery took over most of the hard stuff, and all farmers have to do now is keep everything running smoothly. Even when it comes to yard cleaning, the tractor can come in quite handy, as this guy found out. He built a contraption that connects to the tractor's power supply that acts similarly to a wood chipper, but instead of large chunks of wood, however, it can take care of small branches and twigs from trees that have fallen in storms or have been felled by the farm owner. While the volume it can handle is quite conservative, it can save farmers a considerable amount of time and effort. Instead of carting off the branches to dump on an unused part of the farm, it can be turned into wood chip for barn flooring or something similar. How clever is that? Pretty smart if you ask us. Number 4. A moving boat. If you've watched people speeding along the water in their fancy boats and gone green with envy, then don't. Those are the same people that argue, swear, and stress themselves silly trying to reverse a boat trailer into the water, then get the boat off without damaging it. They may even be the same people that appear in those blooper videos where the SUV ends up in the water with the boat. So you might be envious, but only once the boat is actually in the water. We think this guy might have had a similar experience to those blooper videos because he has come up with a solution. It's a boat that has road-going wheels. He can drive it into the water of its own accord, pull up the land motor, then set the water motor into the river. There's no fuss and no hassle with trailers whatsoever. When all that fun is over and you want to head home, you can drive the boat out of the water and back to where it came from. This guy's going places. Number 3. Handmade invention. The electric vehicle market is growing quite quickly in this day and age, with more and more people looking to reduce their carbon footprint. It also doesn't hurt to save money on fuel where possible too. But the price tag of electric cars is still quite high, which means gas-guzzling vehicles are here to stay for quite a while longer. If the price of an electric car is a bit out of your price range, but you still want to help the environment, then you might be like this guy and use an electric bicycle. Instead of spending hundreds if not thousands of dollars on one, you can build your own. This guy proves it's not impossible. He has taken a regular bicycle and motorized it. Imagine not having to tackle those challenging hills on your own steam. The complicated setup is probably not something that everyone can do, but just look at how fast it goes. Who knows, given the right conditions, he might even overtake a low-powered electric car on the road. Number 2. Homemade hovercraft. Imagine this for a scenario, and it's probably not that hard to do as it's most likely your reality. You're stuck in a line of traffic and it's non-moving and there's no way out of it. Most people would just sit and idle away for hours, but you might not have to in the future. Colin Furs from YouTube has created a hoverboard that can lift him off the ground. It has no steering, no brakes, but 2 accelerators, a seat, and handlebars to hold. While it took several weeks of planning, changing, and fixing, not to mention learning how to control it, the results were incredible. And this actually came from someone with no experience or engineering qualifications. There were definitely a few teething issues, but there's every reason to believe that Colin and even others will be able to hover above that frustrating line of traffic in the future and get home just in time for dinner. The hovercraft is not Colin's first brush with weird and wacky creations though. He has also been responsible for a jet cart, 70-mile-per-hour scooter, 600cc tuk-tuk, a motorized horse, and a 50-mile-per-hour pram. Number 1. Homemade car. Livio De Marchi was tired of getting pushed around in waves on the Grand Canal in Venice in his paddle boat. He longed for the days when the pace of the canal was a little slower rather than a freeway that he said it became. And what belongs on freeways? Cars. It made sense then for him to build a car and take it on the canal. It took Livio 5 months, but he successfully carved a Ferrari F50 out of pinewood, installed a Yamaha boat engine, and took the 2,000-pound vehicle onto the canal. He is the only man to drive a car in the canal, and chose to craft a Ferrari because he said if he can't afford one, he'd build one. But the likeness is unlike anything you'd imagine. Everything from the buttons to the logo are in line with what you'd expect with a real Ferrari. So much so that his creation has now been welcomed into a museum in America, along with several other cars and a horse coach he has crafted just like it. We should all be pretty ashamed of ourselves. When we need something or want something, we buy it already made, but some people actually put in the effort to build it themselves. Have you ever invented something or built something from scratch? Tell us about it. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time!